Hello, it's Davy Mooney, coming to you from the University of North Texas, where I run the jazz guitar program. Benedetto artist, Sunnyside Records. There's The Word, there's Way Back, and the rest of the Davy Mooney collection. Got my new book, How to Achieve Great Jazz Phrasing, from Mel Bay, and two others back there. Stand's getting a little crowded. Personalizing Jazz Vocabulary and Into the Labyrinth. It is pretty much end of semester here, early December. Just finished up juries yesterday and the day before. Getting ready for a little winter break, which would be nice after I get done with my grading. A little bit worn out from the campaign, but it's all good. You know, it beats unemployment. So happy to be here. But that's not what I want to talk to you all about today. You don't want to hear about that today. I want to talk about one of the most beautiful ballads in the jazz repertoire, and definitely like a perfect song in my opinion. Nothing could really be changed about this tune to make it better, and that's The Nearness of You from Hoagy Carmichael, who has so many great songs. Stardust, my God, Skylark, Georgia. It's just absurd, like the quality of his songwriting. And it's not a difficult song necessarily, although there's one little curveball that this song throws that always messed me up, because I would encounter it, reading it on a gig with a vocalist or something like that, and never really had the time to analyze this until, I started teaching and things like that. But so it was written, I think, in the late 30s, and there's an early recording. I believe the first sort of popular recording was the Glenn Miller Orchestra, Glenn Miller Band, with a guy named Ray Eberly singing it. And the orchestra, it's interesting, those old recordings where the vocalist is kind of like not the star of the show, which seems so strange. So the band plays the tune, almost the whole tune, the orchestra, in D flat. I feel like they don't play the bridge. And then they modulate to F for the vocal. And F is the key that I've played it in. There's, this is another one of those tunes where everybody recorded it. Sinatra has a recording in the 40s that's really nice on Columbia, so before the Capitol era. And he's in D. Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong in the 50s are both in D flat. That's kind of cool, because a lot of the tunes on the Ella and Louis album, they modulate for, the female to male vocals, but on this one, Ella sings it in the higher octave, and Louis Armstrong sings it in the lower, in the key of D flat. I actually recorded this on a CD with the Hot Club of New Orleans in, I think it was 2004, with a great vocalist, Mad Dog Waits, Donald Waits, who's passed recently. But that was a fun little thing. We tried to do our own sort of version of, in the wee small hours, kind of Sinatra. A lot of ballads, some swingers on there too, but we wrote arrangements and we had a lot of fun. And I was trying to find that album on the internet. Man, it's hard to, I don't want to belabor this point, but man, it's really annoying to try to search for information like discographical. Like if I go to, iTunes, or what do they call it, Apple Music, and I try to search, Sinatra, The Nearness of You, you get about, the images of about 15 album covers with the song. And I think he recorded it twice, maybe more, but you can't, it's just so hard to sift through it and see which version is which. And with our record that we do with Mad Dog, it's nowhere. It's not on YouTube. I don't know. I don't run the show in that organization, so I don't know what to say, but it would be nice to. I probably have a CD of it somewhere kicking around. I can't remember who even wrote the arrangement. Maybe it was me. But anyway, The Nearness of You. I noticed too that in these versions it's pretty like... the chords are pretty standardized. I don't see a ton of variation. Just little things with inversions of chords, but no not like something like Stella by Starlight, where you have a lot of variation in certain parts of the tune among the different versions. So I'll just go through it in F. So you have Nora Jones has a great version too. Go Nora. A UNT, not a graduate, but we claim her anyway. She did some time here. All right, so F. It's not the pale moon. Not really my key. Then a 2-5 to the 4. That thrills or delights me. Then to like a 4 diminished. And this is the part of the song. I'm going to stop right here because this is the main thing I wanted to talk about. So when you're playing the song, maybe the first, I don't know, 100 times, you kind of want it to, and by you, I guess I mean me, but I don't think I'm alone in this. So many songs will go 1, 2, 5 to the 4, and then 4 minor, right? And then back to 1, or to 3, some substitution for the 1, some inversion of the 1. But this one does not, and it's very, can be frustrating when you're trying to improvise and you end up on a really like gnarly note, if that sort of thing bothers you. So F major, 2, 5, 4. Because when it goes 4, 4 minor, back to 1, that's, I learned that progression. That progression's in a million songs, like say Just Friends. Just Friends in F is an F. It starts on the 4, goes to the 4 minor, and goes back to 1. And you can treat that 4 minor, with Dorian, maybe a Lydian dominant if you've been to jazz school. In this key, like B flat melodic minor, just arpeggiate the chord. And that can take you back to the 1. I've heard people here call it a backdoor 2-5-1. But that's not the chord. The chord is this diminished, and man, it's kind of a, so what do you do? I've done a lot of videos on diminished, and I say a lot of the time the first thing you do is you panic. The second thing is maybe just arpeggiate the diminished, which you could certainly do. But what I've always sort of searched for is when these diminished chords come up in these songs, or a third option is you change it to the minor. And I was listening to this Red Garland version of the Nearness of You, and it sounds like the bass is kind of like, wants it to be, I hear him playing an E flat before going back to F, so I think the bass player or somebody wants it to be that minor thing. But it's not. So I've always looked for a way to, I want to kind of integrate the diminished chords into my regular playing. So I'm not just playing one kind of thing, and then when the diminished chord comes, I'm either arpeggiating or playing like a half whole diminished lick, which I guess you could play the half whole diminished scale. On that chord, you could play like an A half whole diminished scale or that B flat, but I don't know. I'm not hearing those, as I'm always searching for the perfect notes, y'all. And after much trial and error and suffering with this chord, I'm starting to think of it, at least today, December 5th, 2025, I'm hearing it as you go to the 4, and then this B flat diminished is kind of like just like a 5 of the 1 chord. So it's kind of, and I heard on some of these early versions, I heard the bass player, I think Ray Brown does this, he's in a different key, and whoever's playing bass in the Glenn Miller Orchestra goes to, after the B flat major, they go to like a D flat diminished. So, kind of C7 flat 9 with D flat in the bass. So I think there's a lot of ways you can just sort of treat it as a C7 flat 9, going back to the 1, or in this case the 3, which the 1 and the 3 are so closely related it doesn't really matter. And so, but I kind of hear, and I think I tried to do this on the when I play on this with the track, I'm hearing, if I had to do a chord scale, and I am a jazz educator, and I'm not too cool for school, y'all. I'm not afraid to talk about chord scales. I think like F harmonic major is a really nice choice. Definitely not the only choice, but for a collection of notes. And again, when I say that, it doesn't mean you have to run the scale, the 7-note scale from top to bottom or whatever and make it sound so obvious. But a collection of notes for that chord, I think the F harmonic major is a nice choice, and because you get the arpeggio. So F harmonic major is like the major scale. When you get to the 5th, you go flat 6 and then major 7. So you get that minor 3rd augmented 2nd interval in there between the flat 6 and the major 7. So and it's, in some ways it's kind of like Barry Harris's 6 diminished scale, or the bebop scale, but that scale has 8 notes. And all this stuff is a little bit synthetic, but I mentioned that because the harmonic major scale kind of combines the major scale and like implies like a 5-1 within the scale. And I know the regular major scale does that too, but it implies like a 5 with a flat 9, kind of like a C7 flat 9 as part of the scale. So what's the difference between that and the half-whole diminished? I mean, they're pretty similar. It's just, the half-whole, the A, this would be A half-whole diminished, or B flat whole half diminished. I always think of them as half-whole because, I don't know, because I do. It's pretty similar. Like, so F, one note that the half-whole diminished doesn't have is the note F, which I think is kind of nice. I mean, the melody goes like E to G. It's me. Do I hear between that? If I had to pick an F between that E and the G for improvising purposes, do I hear an F sharp? I don't know. Maybe some days I would, but I feel like my heart is telling me, and it's just a love song, so this is important, it's telling me to play an F natural. Then okay, so then down here, so yeah, the half-whole diminished would not have that note, it would have this note. So. And you've heard me talk in a lot of these videos. I like to make these chords be harmonic minor kind of sounds. And so what's the difference between the relevant harmonic minor chord scale for this chord would be like D harmonic major. And it's very similar. So did I say harmonic major? Call myself harmonic minor. D harmonic minor would be the one option. And so then what's the difference between F harmonic major and D harmonic minor? They're really close because, F and D, you've got that relative major, relative minor relationship. So here's F harmonic major, and here's D harmonic minor. I start them both on F, so here's harmonic major, here's harmonic minor, D harmonic minor. So really it's the difference between one has a C and one has a D. And I believe the rest of the notes are the same, right? D harmonic minor. So we're really splitting hairs here, but that's kind of what we do. That's definitely what I do. Not out of a sense of like, well, I guess it is kind of nerding out, but it's nerding out in the quest for the perfect notes. For me, and I know I sound like I'm joking, but I'm not. It's like to express the perfect emotion and evoke the perfect emotion, I need the perfect notes. And they change from, I might not use all of them, but to kind of isolate a specific collection and a specific sound, I'm feeling like... It's hard not to make it too obvious when you're trying to demonstrate it. But that's what I'm going with. Like I said, December 5th, 2025. I'm going with functionally, it's like 5-1 going back to 1, the B flat diminished. And, that gives you a lot of options of how to think about it. It could be, C whole half diminished, like I was just saying that, which is the same as the A, right? But if I want to really nerd out, I'm thinking like F harmonic major. Okay, so that's basically the weird part of the song, because like I said, the real problem is that the first 100 times I played the tune, I wanted it to be a B flat minor, because I'm so used to like 1, 2, 5, 4, 4 minor, 1. It's in so many tunes, and this is, as far as I know, the only one I can think of that tricks you like that and goes 1, 2, 5, 4, 4 diminished, what? 3, 6, 2, 5. So the rest of the A section we can kind of, it's not the pale moon that excites me, or thrills or delights me, oh, 3, 6, maybe diminished, 2, it's just this 5 of 3, 6, 2, it isn't your sweet conversation when E minor, D flat. flat minor, C minor, that gives this sensation. Oh no, same thing. It's just the nearness of you. You know, most people go like even more confusing. Then there's the one like sort of 4 minor back to 1. When you're in my arms. So the bridge goes to the 2 chord in the G minor, 2 chord in the key of F. And I feel you so close to me. Here's another thing that kind of tricks me in the song is a lot of songs would go 2-5 to the close to me, and then do a 2-5 to the 4 again. But this one, it kind of the 1 chord becomes dominant, like a little early, because of the melody. So you get when you're in my arms, and I feel you so close to me. Oh my. Then the 4 chord. What? And here I was listening to. I sneak in a little B minor 7 flat 5 E7 before the A minor 7 flat 5, and I was trying to find where I got that from. And I don't know, somebody was just doing that around New Orleans. I think we probably did it on the record that we did. So you get to the second half of the bridge, you get 4 chord, and a lot of people will just let that ride and then go A minor 7 flat 5 D7. Sometimes G7, although a lot of versions just go right to G minor, but you could have G7, then G minor, C7, F. But what I'm doing is, so the bridge, when you're in my arms, and I feel you so close to me, all my wildest dreams. I'm sneaking in that little sort of 2-5 to the A minor 7 flat 5. Dreams come true. I need no soft light, last A, to enchant me if you'd only grant me the right. There's a little tag to hold you ever so tight. To like a A minor 7 flat 5 D7, and to feel in the night. And is that G minor or G7 night? It's up to you. The nearness of you. Put in a little 10 hammer in there. So yeah, the rest of it's pretty standard. 1 6 2 5 4. I don't think there's anything about the song that's unusual. Beautiful melody, perfectly constructed and written. But man, that little spate and switch on the A sections. And it's funny because I tell my students a lot of these tunes, I separate these standards from the jazz standards in the sense that this tune wasn't specifically written for us to play our solos on. So sometimes it doesn't behave the way we want it to behave. But it almost does. So this one always threw me for a loop. So I'm going to improvise on it, and I can't remember. I was probably thinking about harmonic major on that chord. Hopefully I didn't make it too obvious, because always, you want to analyze the stuff and figure it out and get all your options together. And then, like I said, the point of that is so that you can, in the moment, call upon these notes and this abstract instrumental music. At least my goal is to really express and evoke specific kind of emotions. And for whatever reason, F harmonic major is giving me the emotions I want from this tune. And that's C sharp and F in there with the diminished notes is what I need. So, all right, y'all, I'm going to play the chorus on one of the greatest ballads ever, Hoagy Carmichael's The Nearness of You. Hope you enjoy.